somewhat of a role reversal here today. I am joined by Jim McCallum, host of Our Hometown. He has been here from, I guess, 2009, 2010 is when you started?
About 2010.
2010.
Right.
So it is 2023 right now. So we've got 13 years of service here to our channel and to Focus Broadband. Jim, you started off, tell me how things have changed, one, here at Focus Broadband.
Sure.
How did you get picked to be the host of the show, and kind of tell me your story?
I was attending a Rotary meeting, and one of your employees, ATMC at that time, mentioned to me that they might have an opening here and would I be interested. I jumped on it because I'd never done anything like that before, Aaron, but yeah, it was of great interest to me. And so we started out in 100 yards from here in a small studio, not as big as very small living room.
It was basically like a garage, I think.
It was a shed of sorts, yeah. We started there with Jennifer Beasley. You've been here 9 or 10 years, I'm going to guess.
Almost 8 at this point.
Okay. All in all, I think I've done several hundred interviews or more. It's never been work. It's always been fun.
And I think that one of the things that really sets you apart, you're a very curious human being. And I know I was reading a book last night, and it was saying, like, to be a good interviewer, you have to be curious. And I would see you go to these interviews, and I'd see you like ask questions beforehand, kind of figure out your footing with these interviewees.
Right.
And then you would, go about your interview. And I know one of the hardest things I think to be a producer for one of these shows is finding new people. And you always had your ear kind of open to anything around the area. Describe yourself when it comes to being a curious human being.
Well, as to this show, I am curious. I think it helps to ask good questions. People have great stories, and you and I have talked about that before. And if you look and listen, you'll find out that the great stories are out there. The key is to ask good questions and listen, because they're going to tell you their story if you give them the opportunity. So it's been a hoot. It really has.
I think one of the things that really, sets good interviewers apart is the follow-up questions and listening to the answers. You can tell somebody how to ask questions, what questions to do, but I think a good interview is somebody that asks the questions but also listens for a good follow-up question.
Good point. My training as a lawyer was invaluable in that regard. Cross-examining in the courtroom is doing just that. It's listening, and if you listen carefully enough and if you're prepared, the next question just rolls right off your tongue. It's not difficult, but it's an acquired skill, that's for sure.
Right. How do you think that, for a long time, this studio, and I wanted to do, full disclosure, the weather was not great today.
Right.
We wanted to do it outside, but then I decided that maybe doing it where it all began, here in Focus Broadband TV studios, would be a good addition to Our Hometown legacy. And I think that this is kind of a cool way to kind of close out this chapter. What have you seen change? I know for the longest time this show was strictly a studio show.
Sure.
When I got here, we started kind of experimenting a little bit more. Do you think that maybe added to the mystique of your show?
Well, no, I don't know about the mistake, but it was invaluable. You're right. I sat where you're sitting for several years, and then we started going on the road. I commented a few moments ago, I haven't been here to the studio for years because virtually absolutely all of our shows have been on the road. We go where the people are, and it makes a much more interesting show.
I think that, when you brand your show as Our Hometown, and it's about the people and places that make our area unique, I thought, when I came here, maybe it would be a little bit more valuable to the viewer to kind of go out into the community and see what actually makes the area unique.
And of course, the quality of the show has improved. as you and your company, ATMC, now Broadband, have acquired new cameras, new technology, new lighting, everything is moving up technology-wise.
It's so interesting. Nathan Evers, who is
Right.
my producer, he and I were like looking through the archives and seeing a lot of the old interviews that we did before either of us got here.
Right.
And seeing some of the like set pieces and everything, and you know, it's wild to me how in such a short period of time technology has exploded and ways of doing things have exploded, and it looks like night and day comparison between
And the
when you first
technology,
started.
the technology has come local. I mean, we're not NBC News in Washington, D.C. yet, but the technology is here to produce a great program.
What are some of the things that, some of your favorite memories of doing this show for so long?
You know, I thought about that. I'll mention a few. Joe and Mo Stanley, whom so many people in this community know. We did a 30-minute interview with them that's memorable, one that I know you guys have played over and over and over. An awesome interview. Thanks to them, as you know, Mo and Joe are terrific guys. It was a great interview. Another that I remember were the interviews of two World War II veterans, Bob Bradich and Norman Mears. Bob has passed away. I'm not sure about Norman now. He moved back to Raleigh. That's one of the interviews where I spent a better part of the week. I went to their homes and sat with them for an hour or two. It was a good investment because the outcome was that they told us on camera things that they hadn't told their children all through the years. It was an inspiring interview.
I think that over the years and some of the open-endedness to our hometown kind of allowed us to be a little bit more experimental with some of the things a lot of times we weren't able to do earlier in your run. Mm-hmm. I think one of the fun things is going to the Buddhist temple here, and that was something that, you know, we were just curious about, and we're like, we've seen it driving down that road all the time. Why don't we stop in? So I gave him a call and trying to, you know, set that up.
It worked out so well.
And it was one of my favorite things that we've ever done.
Yeah. Every time I drive by there, because I live relatively close, I think of that.
Right, yeah. Right. And I think that, you know, the service that you were able to give back to the community with a lot of these interviews, getting word out on special events and special, you know, organizations in the community, gave a voice to a lot of people that maybe were considered voiceless.
Sure. And let's remember the nonprofits, the others that are doing service in the community. Those were some of the simple interviews: when, what, where, how, and why. Nevertheless, they're just as important as some of the other interviews that we've done.
Right. I know, like early on, it was, you know, we shot to kind of give you inside baseball. That's the term of how we do production of these things. We shoot a month in advance.
Right.
And thinking in our minds like, well, we're going to have to do this one 2 months out from the actual event. That was a little tough, like trying to kind of keep up with that sort of schedule.
To make sure your interview was current.
Right. And then, you know, as we kind of moved ahead, it was a little fun to kind of actually go to the events, like being able to go out into the community. I know last year we were able to go to Southern Farm Days, which we will actually look at here in a few minutes because, of course, Southern Farm Days coming up again in March.
It's a great show.
It was one of my favorite episodes that we did, being able to kind of go out and go to these events.
And there were national channels covering that same event.
Correct.
Yeah.
How do you think your time here has been? Like, will you look back and be like, this has been a great time?
Sure. Aaron, all my life I've practiced law, or I was clerk of court, of course, but I've always had a second interest that involves public service of some sort. I won't go into those, but I've always had a sideline in addition to the practice of law. And for the last 12 years or so, this has been it. It's not work, it's been a pleasure, and I should say working with you and Nathan has been the easiest job around. You guys have made it very simple. There are times when my time is stressed, but you've always made it work. Made it work.
We feel that like the days that we would film Our Hometown with You, it would be a fun event. Like we knew it was going to be fun. It was never a stressful thing.
Yeah.
We do a lot of commercial production with outside vendors here. We do other shows, and sometimes those shows can get hectic in producing them. For you, it was always an expression of creativity for us. We could go out and shoot fun, what we call B-roll, some of the video that you lay on top of the video.
And I might embarrass you, but I'd say my interview with your dad was one of the most fun interviews that I've ever done, and one of the easiest.
My dad, being able to interview, and that was one of those things where we could not think of an interview for that time, and I'm like, well, we could always interview my dad. That was one that I always kept in the back pocket.
It was a terrific interview. It went so well.
And it's so funny, every year around the time that we did it, around the time that it was released, Facebook has Facebook memories.
Yeah. My
aunt always embarrasses my dad, shares it out again, and makes sure that everybody in the family, everybody in the Varnamtown community
That's great.
Gets to see it again.
Yeah. And let's not forget the Christmas parade.
Every year, the Christmas parade. Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do without Jim McCallum calling the Christmas parade. It's going to be an interesting thing.
You'll do well, but the city of Shiloh does such a great job. You guys do such a great job. All that I've done during those years is to show up. There's a little preparation, but not a lot, and to enjoy the parade.
You know, one of the funniest things I like thinking about this is, my background is I started off working in news. I worked with people that had been in news for 1 or 2 years, on-air talent, to people that had been in, on air for 40 to 50 years. We had a guy who had been on air in the Myrtle Beach market for years. Uh-huh. And when I came here, I was I didn't know how I was going to be able to work with talent that maybe, your background was not broadcasting.
No, not
You
at
had
all.
no formal broadcasting training.
None at all.
So I think that, I was a little apprehensive, and when I kind of got into it, I'm like, you know what? Jim is really good at what he does. He knows what he's doing, and it's perfect for this demographic, this environment here in Brunswick County, and I think that you have done such a great job being able to integrate yourself into this southeastern North Carolina community.
It's been a good fit. Sue and I came here, 20 years ago. It's been our home since then. And all of our friends, some of our family, the folks that we love are all over the county.
Can you believe that a majority of your time here in the southeastern North Carolina has been on air?
Sure.
What are some of the things, have you ever been recognized out in public because of it?
It happens frequently.
Really?
It happens this way. Occasionally, the person will come up to me and say, I know you. I know you. I can't remember where. But sure. And then on other occasions, I'll hear a guy say to his wife, see that guy over there? He's the guy on television. So it's fun.
And I think over the last couple of years, one of my favorite things is being able to kind of mesh you with other programs, other things that we have on our channel itself. Mm-hmm. You've been able to work with some of our sports guys and kind of see what they do, and kind of, it is a community here on Focus Broadband TV, and I think that you have been able to just roll with the punches and kind of do whatever. It's fun because I would throw things at you that maybe you were not in your comfort zone, but in the end it ended up great.
It does require flexibility, and that's the name of the game in broadcasting. Not nothing. A lot of things don't roll out as you expect.
Well, Jim McCallum, thank you so much for being a part of the ATMC and Focus Broadband TV family for so long. Thank you so much for being willing to kind of do whatever we asked of you and be on the channel. Coming up next here on Our Hometown, we're going to be looking at Southern Farm Days, which is coming up in March right here in southeastern North Carolina.
We're here with Mr. Robert Mills. Mr. Mills is the president of the Cape Fear Heritage Association. Did I get that right, Mr.?
Yes, sir, that's right.
All right. Thank you so much for a few minutes. We know you're extremely busy this day.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about how many years has the festival been going on?
This makes 12.
Okay.
12th year, yeah. We've been here 14 years, but we've only had, this will be the 12th show because of that COVID.
Right. You missed 2 years. Yeah. You work year-round to make this happen. don't
Right, we started in June on this one.
you? I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Tell us, we know this in large part benefits the boys and girls homes. Let's talk about that. It's really important.
Yeah, we always make a donation to them, and they let us use the facilities year-round if we need it and whatever. We use it for other gatherings that we have, and we donate them a portion, not all, a portion of the money that we take in.
And of course, you've been here many times. This is my first time here, and I want to say to our viewers, if you haven't been to Lake Waccamaw and seen the grounds and been to the boys and girls homes, you are truly missing a wonderful asset for this area. What's your day like today, Mr. Mills?
It's good, doing good so far. Doing good so far. We haven't had too many hiccups.
And it's a 3-day event.
Yes, sir. We'll be here today, tomorrow, and Sunday.
And while we only see hundreds and hundreds of people here today, there'll be thousands and thousands here tomorrow.
Probably, yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mr. Mills, for all that you do. We're very grateful, and we look forward to staying in touch with all that you do here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. We're here with Paul Garin. Did I get it right, Paul?
Yes, sir, you did.
Interestingly enough, Paul is from Oak Island, and gosh, you've got a great story to tell. Let's get it going.
Okay, which one do you want to hear first?
Well, let's talk about your tractor here.
Okay, well, my tractor's it's a Ferguson, as before, Massey Ferguson, and model number TO30. And I've had this tractor for quite a few years. I bought it back in the 80s. I used to have a horse farm in Atlanta, and I kept I got rid of everything except the tractor. I love the tractor, so hung on to that, and well, got it recently restored, and currently I just use it for going to tractor shows, tractor events, having a great time with that. So,
what was it like when you got it, Paul?
Oh, it was painted red for one thing, but it made a lot of smoke and made a lot of noise, and we got some noise here going on. My goodness, we're having a lot of fun. But I mostly use it for mowing. I actually used it on the farm, and but it was just slowly deteriorating, so I couldn't help to want to save it, keep it going, and so got it in its present condition, and it's runs like a top. So
I wish our viewers could see the attention to detail. Talk a little bit about your restoration.
Well, where can I start? I had the tractor starting to rust away at different parts, so I just got a hold of some new parts and got some help and cleaned it all up and repainted it, rebuilt the engine, and just got it running top notch. So
talk a little bit more about the historic. For example, you try to get the paint not just the right color, but the exact historical right color. Where do you get your parts? If you need parts, talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, Yeah, that's a big dilemma with the Ferguson tractors. It's got a unique color that no other tractor has, or I've not seen it anywhere else. And most of my information I've got from there's a website, an organization I belong to, the Ferguson Enthusiasts of North America. They publish a magazine and that, but they have a very resourceful website where they've got all the information on correct colors and part numbers on different things. And so you just get some of these numbers and bring it to the auto parts store, and they mix the paint up for you. And I've had many compliments from older Ferguson enthusiasts that, well, you got the color right, that's for sure. So I'm just really pleased with that. But parts are readily available. You can get used parts, new parts. Steiner Tractor, which is I think one of the sponsors of this show here, they're very good getting parts out of southern Michigan there, but many other places you can get parts from. So readily available and usually at competitive prices. So
You travel with your tractor to other tractor events, right?
I do. I have a big time with that. It's been a little slow over the last couple of years with the COVID business going on there, but just this last fall, I started having some more tractor shows. I've been up to Butner near Durham, and you get up to Virginia, and I try to attend events all over the place. Been to Denton, North Carolina. That's a wonderful show over there, really big. And but this show here I particularly like. It's very diverse. There's a lot of things going on other than the tractors. In this show, it's really nice. You can come here, bring your tractor, and actually go over and turn some dirt. So it's a lot of fun doing that. Actually putting your tractor to work. So
all right, your tractor is a Ferguson. How did Massey get into the game?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but that was about 1957 is when that started in there, and this is in 1954, so it's certainly before Massey got involved. I think it had to do with some financial business and that. So,
but they merged.
They did merge. So, and I guess they bought the company out and kept the name, and they were part ownerships. But so it's kind of a unique history with that, and. Henry Ford was involved pretty heavy with the early days of Ferguson back in the 40s, and they had some business going on together. And you'll see some of the older Ford tractors, and there'll be an emblem on the front. We've got one down here. It's a 9-end Ford, and it says Ferguson System. It had Harry Ferguson's, the inventor of the 3-point hitch. He's the one that got with Henry Ford, and it's kind of interesting.
It's the universal hitch now, right?
Yeah, it's just commonly widely used today is the 3-point hitch. And but Henry Ford and Harry Ferguson, they made a handshake deal over a kitchen table in Allen Park, Michigan, and they say it took 200 lawyers to settle the disputes that came up after that layer. And,
well, I'm a lawyer, so I understand that.
Okay, very good. And I guess Harry Ferguson won some settlement money out of that. So, yeah,
Paul, thanks so much for being with us. It's a great story, and I know you're going to have a great several days here at the grounds.
Absolutely.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
So what's very important for us as a local hometown insurance agency is that there is that accountability there. I always tell someone, if I make you mad, you'll probably find me at the grocery store or sitting at a restaurant. We can talk then, but I always try to make myself available and be responsive to my clients' needs. It took me a long time to realize that I was more than just a paper pusher or an insurance policy quoting machine. This is a relationship business, and a lot of people, when they buy insurance, is because they worked hard for this asset. Maybe it's their home or their auto, and they want to protect it. They want to make sure they have the right coverage for it. So it does give me a lot of satisfaction to know that I'm helping others and giving them that peace of mind. And hopefully they don't have to file a claim, but if they do, I'm going to be their best friend and right beside them to make sure that they're treated fairly and quickly and getting the payout they deserve from the insurance company.
For us, it's just about knowing that folks have somebody that they can reach out to personally, build a relationship with personally, and know that there is somebody that cares. Even when something difficult is happening, you still have that person that you can reach out to. Our niche and our specialty is definitely coastal property insurance. We pride ourselves on being knowledgeable in the arena of flood insurance, knowledgeable in the arena of wind coverage, and just preparing our clients for what is unfortunately the inevitable. Living here at the beach,
We've seen more than our fair share of hurricanes these past few years.
So we have a saying around here that says, when we shop, you win. And I really think that the reason is, as an independent insurance agency, we represent several different companies. Not one of those companies pays for my retirement. So I don't have a loyalty to one company. And I really can take a client's insurance needs and review it and make sure that I find them the right coverage, and we want to find them a decent price or the most competitive price. I never like to say the lowest price, but I want them to leave the office with their policy understanding what they have, feeling like they're getting a good value for it, and also having that peace of mind that they're protected if they do need it.
Folks, thanks for being with us on Our Hometown and the new Focus Broadband. We've had a great time here at the grounds here at Lake Waccamaw, and we look forward to staying in touch soon.
So at Lower Cape Fear Life Care, we started a Memory Partners program in 2019. The vision was to help caregivers and people living with dementia in the community. Through this grant with Focus Broadband, one of the interventions that we've been able to offer is music and memory to our Brunswick County residents. There is a whole application process that we complete to ensure that the music that they receive is what they connect with. So far, we've been able to help 17 clients and caregivers in Brunswick County by offering them this intervention of music and memory, and we've gotten some wonderful feedback. This grant through Focus Broadband has allowed us to support people in the community with an intervention they would not have otherwise. So without Focus Broadband helping us, this intervention would not have been one that we could have initiated.